Hi. So this video is going to cover the concepts of melody and sharps and flats, which we'll get to, or I call them hashtags. Um, the melody is going to be one of your listening things. So for the listening, you're going to have four components. And we already went over one of them, duple versus triple, because I think that's the most difficult. For melody, it's going to be legato versus staccato. And I promise that will not be very difficult, okay? So let me go ahead. And all right, here we go. So, where is PowerPoint? Okay. Um, Melody. You can have steps or leaps. So, this is what you can talk about with your group presentations, okay? Whether the melody has lots of steps or it has lots of leaps. Most melodies have a combination of both, okay? So if you were to hear a melody with steps, and I'll play this for you, you know, all right, that's all steps, okay? A lot of leaps would be, and then steps. All right. So most are a combination of both. So melodies are comprised of steps and leaps, basically. Okay. So leaps meaning there's a lot of distance between the two notes. This is something you can cover in your group presentations if you talk about melody, whether it's predominantly steps, where it's predominantly leaps, or a really cool combination of the two. Okay. So that's what we mean that the melody will have both of those components in it. Okay. The other thing the melody has is that it will be what we call the way you play the melody. Okay, are you going to play it legato or staccato? So legato would be a very smooth, connected way of playing. If you compare that to a sport, that would be like skating, ice skating. Okay, um, the staccato would be very short and detached. So to hear that, here's a legato melody, and then here's a staccato. Staccato, legato, and then staccato. All right, and then legato. Okay, so those would be examples of legato and staccato. So you will have to identify that on the quiz. So if I'm going to play something for you, and then you'll have to tell the difference between legato and staccato. And I'll do some practices, okay? So, okay. And then the other thing I wanted to cover on this is sharps. Okay. I'm skipping over key and I'm skipping over harmony because I want to do that in person. Okay. Um, okay. All right. So, sharp. If we talk about sharpening something, you're raising something. If we talk about flatting something, you're making it lower. Okay. So, when you have a sharp sign, okay, if you look here, look at these little hashtags. I know we're in the 21st century. 10 years ago, I wouldn't even been, even be saying this. But notice that some of these notes have that little hashtag sign or a sharp sign before it. This is a symbol to tell the musician to raise the pitch a half step. Okay. So that means a very small step. Okay. So just to get back here. Okay. So when you have a half step is the smallest step in Western music. Okay. And that basically means you're going from one note to the next. All right. So a half step sounds like Jaws. Okay? So that is a half step. That is when you're going from one key to the next and or one note to the closest note. It's the smallest in Western music. Now, some other cultures might have even smaller steps, okay? But in the Western culture, the half step smallest. Then you have a whole step. It's also very close together, okay? But this is a half step. This is a whole step. Okay? All right? So I just wanted you to know about the two types of steps, and I'll cover more of that when we come back in person and when I'm out of quarantine. But I want you to be aware of that because since I'm talking about that, um, oops, okay, all right. I'm sorry, I'm not as fast as I should be. Let's see. Okay, so the sharp, and we're going back to this, is something that raises a pitch a half step. Okay, no, we don't have to know the natural. Okay, there you go. All right. So instead of playing a G that happens to be G, I'm gonna play a G sharp. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna raise the pitch. So if I have a picture of a sharp sign on the quiz, you're gonna say it raises the pitch. That's all you have to say. If you want to be specific and then raise the pitch a half step, great. But all you have to say is that it raises the pitch, okay? And then let me go back to this. Okay. Then you have flats, all right? Ah! I checked this and it was supposed to work. Well, I can do something else. Sorry about that. Okay. All right, I'm going to go to escape and let's go to here. Darn it. Okay. Okay, we're going to go to Canvas. Okay, so here we go. And for some reason, you have to click on this thing. Okay. All right. So if you notice, you have these hashtags, which is the sharp, that you raise it. Okay, G sharp, A sharp. Okay, you don't have to know the letter names. Just know that the sharp, it means you raise it. Then you have these flat signs. They look like little bees, okay? When you have a flat next to a note, you're lowering the pitch, okay? So these are all you're lowering, okay? And in fact, I think we talked about this first day, that when we lower, when you sing below the pitch and it sounds really bad, you're flat, okay? I don't know if that makes any sense, all right? So that's what we mean by flatting, okay? You're lowering the pitch, all right? So you need to know the symbols for the sharp and for the flat. So for the quiz, what I'll do is I'll just have a picture of a sharp and you just say, and I'll say, what does that do? And your answer will be raises the pitch. And if I have a picture of a flat and I'll say, what does that do? You're going to say, it lowers the pitch. And that's it. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. All right. Okay. I think that's, I thought this would be cool to show this. So you notice that this happens to be Bohemian Rhapsody. And then see, there's some flats here. And look at over here. You have a 4/4. So that means there's 4, how many beats per measure. In this case, it's 4. The quarter note gets 1 beat because the 4 is on the bottom. And look over here. You've got a 5/4. So here you got 5 counts in a measure, okay? And then it goes back to 4. So this is a very sophisticated piece that it changes the meter so much. So here we've got some flats and some sharp. So here we have a mixture of everything there, and I wanted you to see that. Actually, I should have put flats and sharps example, okay? All right, so that's it for melody and flats and sharps. I hope that is clear what you need to know, okay? All right, so let me get here. And I will also have some listening examples that you can practice. Okay. Bye.